Hey, welcome back to the Passive Pathway. I'm your host, Nelly, and as always, we believe in building smart, acting bold, and honoring the traditions of doing things the right way while still having fun. You know, I always say real estate is like marriage. Lots of commitment, some surprises, and you hope no one's hiding a septic tank in the closet. Well, today, no toilets, no tenants, just dirt, and lots of freedom. I'm absolutely delighted to introduce our guest today, Mike Deaton. From leading big tech ops to hiking the Colorado Rockies and training for ultra marathons, Mike and his wife Ligia flipped their corporate lives and multiple parcels of raw land to build a business that isn't just about money. It's about time, peace of mind, and living elevated. Mike has flipped hundreds of plots, coached hundreds of students through his program Flipping Dirt, partnered in $90 million plus commercial syndications, and wrote the book Flipping Dirt. When he's not plotting land deals, you'll find him training for mountain races, because for Mike, the business of life is endurance, grit, and vision. So, Mike, thanks for being here. We're going to dig into the dirt literally and uncover how you turned land into a pathway to freedom. But first, tell us what it felt like when both of you were laid off on the same day. I mean, talk about plot twist. Joining me today is Mike Deaton, co-founder of Flipping Dirt, land flipping coach, real estate investor, author, and aspiring endurance athlete who's as comfortable closing deals as he is running ultra marathons. After both he and his wife Ligia were laid off from their corporate jobs on the same day, mind you, they decided to take charge of their destiny. Fast forward a few years and they flipped hundreds of parcels of land, coached entrepreneurs worldwide, and built a life defined by freedom, not fear. Mike, welcome to the Passive Pathway podcast.
Nelly, thank you for having me on. I'm excited to talk all things entrepreneurship and passive income.
Absolutely. We are excited as well. I'm excited as well. The audience, the listeners, all would be super excited. And you know what? Some stories just remind you that losing a job can sometimes be the best promotion life gives you. So let's dig right in, pun absolutely intended, and uncover how Mike flipped the script one parcel of land at a time. Okay, Mike. You and Ligia were both laid off on the same day. How did that pivotal moment push you toward land flipping instead of another corporate job?
Yeah, it was a great anxiety-filled moment. Obviously, we were with different companies. In 2016, both got let go, and my knee-jerk reaction was to exactly do that and get back into the workforce, leverage my skills and my experience, get another job. Ligia, thankfully, was a little more in touch with the anxiety that I was going through, and she also felt that as well. We had a bit of a cushion, and she encouraged us to kind of take a pause, step back, and think about the future that we wanted to create rather than just reacting and getting back in the workforce. And so, yeah, we took time. We mapped out our values, personal values, what we wanted our life to look like. And that led us down a different path. And that was entrepreneurship, and specifically real estate. And land flipping was our first way into the world of real estate and building up a life and a lifestyle that we have today.
Awesome, awesome, and it's really interesting. I love the way you've termed it land flipping, because that is pretty interesting. That really caught my attention. I'm sure it has caught the listeners' attention as well. Land flipping. So, talking of which, land is often overlooked compared to multifamily fix and flips or Airbnb. Why do you call land flipping real estate's dirty little secret?
Well, I also like my puns, and so you get the dirt aspect of things. But land, much to the description that you gave it, and to us at the time, land is really an under the radar asset class. A lot of people know house flipping and multifamily investing and fix and flips, those types of things. I mean,
Uh-huh.
you see TV shows,
Yep.
people glamorizing all of that. But land, it's really boring. It's vacant land, especially the way we do it, and it is purely
True,
flipping.
true.
We buy it low and we sell it at market value. We don't do any renovations or improvements or anything like that. It's typically it's quite literally buying land under market value, so there's an instant profit, and then reselling it.
It's dirt cheap.
It is dirt cheap.
I love the way that. Okay, so you flipped hundreds of parcels of land. What's the simplest example you can share that shows how accessible this strategy is for beginners?
Yeah, it's great. I mean, we do it multiple times a week, every week, and we teach clients to do the same. And so, literally, an example is we identify a market, we find who owns the vacant land in that market, we
Mm-hmm.
buy it. Let's say land, based on the comparable analysis, is selling for $20,000
Mm-hmm.
for a parcel of land. Well,
Okay.
we will make offers at $10,000 or less than that for the land.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a certain percentage of people, if you send out 100 offers, maybe
Mm-hmm.
1 or 2% will accept, and you buy it below market value, and then you resell it. So you buy that $20,000 valued parcel of land for 10,000, and then you immediately can resell it for 20 or something close to that. You can even undercut the market if you want, but it's quite literally as simple as that. It's really a very elegantly simple business model. It's not super easy. There's obviously, as with any business, there's nuance throughout all the
Absolutely.
processes. But it's at its highest level, it's a very simple business model.
But sweet, there is a good profit there. But I think you've got the experience there, and you've got the nick for it now. So it's like your baby at this point of time. But I think for someone who's just starting off, I think it would be like something to really look at or consider, the initial nuts and bolts that need to go in there, basically, to understand the concept behind it. Would be, it would take a bit of, a little bit of time just before they actually settle in and actually be able to sell these parcels of lands. Now, talking of it, what does ROI really mean in your world, and how do you teach entrepreneurs to calculate return on time as well as return on investment?
Yeah, both great metrics. So return on investment for us in a financial term
Mm-hmm.
is exactly as I described. And so in that scenario that I just gave you, let's say you bought a piece of property for 10,000 and you sell it in a matter of weeks for 20. And
Mm-hmm.
so, you've doubled your money,
Absolutely.
oftentimes in a few weeks. And so that's a very easy and simple ROI calculation.
Mm.
The overhead involved in land is very, very little. There's not much involved in terms of the transaction costs or systems or anything like that. And so the majority of the time you're making the profit.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Return on time is something that we have observed over time and in exploring other real estate asset classes. So I'll just give you multifamily, for instance.
Okay.
We've partnered in half a dozen or a dozen deals purchasing large multifamily assets. And the amount of time that goes into analyzing, buying, closing, managing, all along the process
Mm-hmm.
is so intensive that the stress and the time that it takes to get the same financial return is just
Hmm.
so much heavier in all other asset classes. If you think about a fix and flip, you have to find contractors, you have to go through the renovation process, there'll
Oh,
be
absolutely.
surprises. All of those things complicate and add stress into the process and also risk, by the way. And so for us, land, we just keep coming back to because it is very simple, it's low stress, and it's super repeatable. And it gives us time to do other things. We coach other people now.
Hmm.
You mentioned some of my hobbies, and so
Hmm.
for me, that's almost more valuable than the money at
Sweet.
some level.
Uh, but is land easily available? I know that's something that it's contradictory because land has a lot of it, but is it really easily available for flipping, basically? I mean,
In the US, it definitely is. I mean, every state and every county has vast amounts of vacant land. Now, when we coach clients, there are some markets that are better than others, and we have a process to help step people through identifying the right market that fits for them and their business model and their resources. But yes, and relative to all of the other asset classes, homes or commercial real estate, there's so much more available land and
mhm.
there's much less competition for all of that land. And so, when you look at proportionally, it's a wide open space, quite literally, the vacant land
Hmm.
that people are able to play in.
Awesome. And the reason why I asked that question is because it's very much related to this question. What are the biggest myths or lies you see around real estate investing? And what's the unvarnished truth you like to share instead?
Yeah, well, there's many in that regard, but I would say that the biggest one I see is people believe that real estate needs to be complicated, that you need to, as I mentioned, you have to add value in some way to drive appreciation or buy and hold, quite frankly, is another myth that,
Mm.
at least for land flipping, doesn't work. I mean, we do not buy and hold. We buy and immediately sell. We trade and turn our cash flow as quickly as we can, and it builds much faster in that way. There are certain asset classes where the buy and hold mentality can be. But if your goal is cash flow, you're not, unless you have a cash generating business like, a rental or
Hmm.
something, it's not generating. And so, yeah, for us, we don't apply to the buy and hold mentality, and we also keep things super, super simple.
Interesting, because when you say you buy and sell immediately, so is it easily saleable? Because is it so, getting a buyer is pretty difficult, but is it so easily available to flip land and getting a buyer and have that land sold out immediately?
It can be, yeah. Most of our deal, I'd say our average deal flow across, we've been doing this. Next year will be our 10th year in business,
Oh,
in the
wow.
land business. And our average cycle time is 6 or 7 weeks. And
Okay.
that's a byproduct really of the type of land that we are going after. We're not looking at multi-million dollar tracts of land. We're looking at more accessible parcels that are maybe anywhere between $5,000 and $50,000
Makes
on the
sense.
retail
Hmm.
market. And so there's a lot more buyers available in that way. Another aspect is that we do a lot of owner financing, so we will act as the lender for people that want to buy properties,
Ah,
and we will service them. And so it makes it a lot more approachable for people to have a $500 a month monthly payment instead of having to come with all of the cash available to purchase something. So there's
makes
a there's a
sense.
few there's a few methods to make things more easily saleable.
But I can say to the listeners, basically, it would be like a breathing period would be 6 to 7 weeks,
On average,
an
yes. Yeah.
average, right?
Some things sell really, really quickly. Sometimes we've held for several months or so. I mean, it just depends on the property and the market and the aggressiveness with which you're marketing.
That's a good thing you said. The aggressiveness in the market. Yes, exactly. That's very important because, you know, why that question would come up, with many of the listeners is that if I bought a certain a part of land or certain, a portion, and I want to go ahead and sell it off with a profit. you do have to wait. You can't sell it immediately. I mean, well, if you get a buyer, of course, but there is a certain time, and you have to have a little bit of patience, of course. You just can't jump in, or unless you do have someone professional just like you. But definitely there is some breathing period where you have to wait to actually be able to sell that portion of land. Is that correct?
It can be, yes, but there are other strategies where you can line up buyers before you make the purchase.
Oh,
So
that's good.
sometimes you can put things under a purchase option 30, 60, 90 days. And during that time period, be pre-marketing and pre-selling and arrange a buyer such that you have one ready made. We now, after years in business, we have an email list of interested buyers. And so we're able to shop to those people first. And there's different strategies to make things go a little more quickly. We also leverage realtors often. We'll list our properties with a realtor, and they oftentimes have buyers that are interested, that they know of, that they can make things happen a little more quickly. And so there's a few strategies there, but in general, yes, I would agree with you. There is that period of time that it's going to take to market, get interested potential buyers, and convert that into a sale.
Awesome. But I like the way that you put it, that there are some strategies. So there is backup sources. There are different ways to do things. It's not just one way traffic that we're looking at, that we're going to be stick to one method or one, particular strategy. So that's really good. And sticking to that, or considering that particular aspect, how do you help busy professionals with limited time and capital start flipping land and actually see results?
Yeah, this is great because most people are busy with limited time. I know when I was
Absolutely.
working in the corporate world, I didn't have time to explore a side hustle. It
Yes,
wasn't until we were let go that I, was forced almost to look at
true.
things. And so, the way we go about helping is we bring a strategy and a framework. And so our coaching process, we have a framework that we call the DIRT framework, and
Hmm.
it's a four-step process. And so the first step is defining the strategy. We sit down and we look at what type of resources, how much time does someone have available? Is it 2 hours? Is it 5 hours? Is it something different? How
Hmm.
much capital do they have access to? And so that defines the strategy, and that helps us create a business plan personalized for the person. The next one
Interesting.
is identifying the markets. So what's the right market for that person and that strategy? Then
Hmm.
it's reaching out to the property owners, and then it's transacting the deal. And so that framework greatly accelerates the process, right? You don't have to worry about figuring it out on your own or making missteps. We also have tools and templates and a lot of things that help make the process frictionless and go a lot more quickly. And so, yeah, people that do have only 2 or 3 hours a week. I mean, this business is not overly complicated. You're not interfacing with partners or finding contractors or doing a lot of extra things like that. And so it can also be automated in many aspects.
Hmm.
And so there's a lot of tools and systems and methods that help make this. On average, I would say if someone has 4 or 5 hours a week, this can easily be done on the side and just nurtured and make a very, very healthy income.
Sounds good. And what I really like about you is that you're very, you and Ligia are very planned. You've planned, you go through a proper planning. You have a strategy. You put things together in such a way that it's really, it's easy in the sense that you and the buyer or the seller, there's an understanding, and you can really
Mhm.
work things out, and it's really nicely put. So it's very understandable. So why I brought that up is because, again, it comes down to mindset. And when we talk about mindset clearly matters in both business and endurance sports, because you also do a lot of sports. So, yeah. So, what lessons from ultra endurance racing translate directly into your entrepreneurship and land flipping business?
Yeah, it's a great question. And I would say from our journey since 2016 in this world of entrepreneurship,
Hmm.
mindset is in fact the biggest factor in success. And it's one of the things that we have worked on, you know, very intently over all these years. It's
Hmm.
something we've had to shift from being an employee to a business owner. But the parallels with endurance sports, there's a couple of really key ones I would say. First of all, in both, when you have a very sharp and well-defined why or purpose, it
Mm-hmm.
becomes critical to pull you through the inevitable low points that are going to happen across a business arc or across a long endurance run or sporting event. And so having that sharp why really helps pull you through. And then on top of that, in order to get from the start line to the finish line or to your goal in a business, you really have to break things down into manageable time frames or steps, because if you start thinking about where you are today and
Mm-hmm.
where you want to go, you can easily get overwhelmed. And so you really need to break it down into manageable pieces
Oh,
such that you
absolutely.
know, I need to get to this next step. And then once you've done that, you can look at the next step. And so, it's really a very clear parallel between both entrepreneurship and endurance
Yeah,
sports in that way.
I completely agree with you with the mindset part. It's so important. I think in every podcast session that I've had with my guests, this particular topic always comes out with mindset, and I
Mm,
think I really closely attach it with attitude as well. Mindset can be one part of it, but the attitude, if someone has a bad attitude, even though with a good mindset, I think it spoils the whole cake. Uh, it's
I
terrible.
would
And
agree 100%. I mean,
yeah,
we look for it in every client we work with.
yeah.
It's the ones who have an attitude of
Oh,
action taking and pushing through that
absolutely.
are successful regardless of their skill set. Yeah.
True, true. Taking action. But that's one aspect, again, taking action with a good attitude. But there are some people who can have a negative
Mm,
attitude,
hmm.
and that can be so difficult, overwhelming, even if their mindset is, they really want to, they want to go ahead and do
Sure.
this. But if their attitude is pathetic, it really spoils everything and it becomes very heavy. Now, talking of that is, what are the common mistakes you see new investors make when they chase hot real estate trends, and how does land flipping offer a smarter alternative?
Yeah. Well, anytime you're chasing a trend, there's typically already a large amount of people in the marketplace, right? So
Mm-hmm.
the very nature of something being a trend is that the masses have gotten behind it. And just in that process,
Mm-hmm.
things are going to become heated. You're
Yes.
going to have to compete more um, in in pricing. The
Mm-hmm.
pressure is going to be upward. You're going to make mistakes because you're trying to outperform other people and get an edge and things like that. And land is just quite different in that way. It's less competitive.
Mm-hmm.
There's far fewer moving parts. Like if you think about a house or a structure, the amount of analysis that needs to go
Oh,
in to do that
yeah.
is far less
Exactly.
than just a vacant piece of land. And so things are a lot simpler and less competitive. And so it just really helps prevent a lot of mistakes that happen in the overheated or trendy markets.
True, and there's a lot of protocols as well. As when we talk about protocols, it's more about legalities that are involved with all that. I think with
Mm,
particularly when we're talking about just land and land flipping, I think it's just, you have one thing to work out with regards to legality is the land itself. You're not worried about the house that's on top that's built, the tax that has to be paid on that,
sure.
the extras that, the additions. It's just the land. So you focused only on the land, and then you could just think with regards to the legalities specifically to that land.
Yeah, well
Um,
said, Nelly.
yeah. So now, can you share a story of a client who created meaningful lifestyle freedom through land flipping, and what made their journey actually work?
Yeah, it's a great one. So we had a client that we worked with recently who came to us, and he had a goal that he wanted to retire his wife. She was a corporate executive. They had a young family. They
Mm-hmm.
still do have a young family, but she worked a lot of hours, and he wanted to leverage land and land flipping and start a business where he could make enough money that
Mm-hmm.
she could step away from her job and they
Mm-hmm.
could, spend more time as a family. And so because he had this really sharp vision and was driven by this goal, he was an action taker and, he hit the ground. He was going really quickly and ingesting all the education and I would say over the course of a year that we
Mm-hmm.
worked with him, he was off to the races. And yeah, he's out there doing bigger, stronger deals. He's on the path to
Wow.
retiring his wife, and it's just been a great thing to see. It's also inspiring to Ligia and I to see people. He's outperforming us in many
I was
ways,
just
and
going to
so
say
it's yeah,
that.
it's
You gave him the pearls of wisdom or the gems to actually
uh-huh.
make what he is today. And so I think he learned a lot from you. And today where he is actually, I think he owes his success to you. Of course, his hard work, but definitely what he learned from you and the tips he got from you, I think that really helped him or pushed him to where his success is right now.
Certainly.
Okay. Now, what does it mean to you to live a life elevated? I like that. I just love that. Life elevated. And how does land flipping serve as a path to that?
Yeah, this is great. So, also there's a little bit of pun in this saying. So,
Yeah.
my wife and I we moved to the mountains of Colorado about four
Oh,
years ago,
beautiful.
and we live at 10,000 feet or around 3,000 meters, depending on who your
Nice.
audience is. We're very high up, and so we quite literally live elevated. But I just love this concept of continuous improvement and always looking to elevate your whatever it is, whether it's your vocational skill set, your personal mindset, all elements in life. I think we should be really, that's one of the meanings and purpose of life, is to be growing and continually improving. So that for
Absolutely.
me is really the core of seeking to live a life elevated. It's across all domains, right? Relationships, spirituality, personal
Oh,
health,
yes.
and your vocation, and just really seeking to be better.
And I think it's very important and you just drew a very nice picture. Mountains, growth, elevation, life, success. It's just beautiful. And I think all the listeners who are listening, they definitely want that kind of of comfortability. It's not about being a millionaire overnight. It's about being, being satisfied, being able to do the things that you don't have to put your hand in your pocket and think, oh, what I need to do right now. I mean, do I have that much money that I can actually go out and do something for my family or for myself for that matter?
Hmm.
So yeah, that kind of an elevation where you're just comfortable financially as well as morally and mentally, you are relaxed.
Sometimes those are even more important than the financial aspect, because we can all choose to be satisfied and rewarded. Obviously, we need a certain amount of money to live in this life and this
Oh
world,
yes,
because that's just the way things work. But
true,
once you get
true.
to a certain point, you can be satisfied, and you can be fulfilled, with a standard of living, such that. So yeah, very well said.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, materialistic things today, I can have money tomorrow, you can have. But at the end of the day, I go with the thought that relationships are very important, and that means also networking in the industry. So if you have good networking skills and you've built a good relationship, you can be really successful with the people that you have because they will help you go up the ladder as well. And of course, in your business as well, I'm sure since you're dealing with realtors, you're dealing with agencies and different people where you list your, the land that you buy or with the people that you're dealing with. So it's also important there to gain that success. Now, talking of which, I have these bonus questions that I wanted to go out and give you. That's why I brought that up. Is when you
Okay.
buy a parcel of raw land, what are the key red flags you never ignore? And how do you teach your students to spot them early?
Great question. And so there are some physical attributes, and primarily the only red flag that we have encountered that we continually look for is just property access. And so there are some properties where there's no road legally leading to it, or it has other properties surrounding such that you can't get to it. And
Mhm.
that's just something that we don't pursue. There are some people that do, but it adds a layer of complexity to be able to resell that. And so that's a physical one. The other ones are really just financial. And so, we look and see, does someone owe taxes, or do they have a lien or a hold against the property because they owe someone a financial debt? And those are
Mhm.
really the primary red flags that we have. Other than that, there's obviously a title or a deed of ownership.
Hmm.
And there's a history of that, right? So you can think about when that land was created and it has traded hands multiple times potentially through different ownerships. You just want
Hmm.
to make sure that all those records are clean. And that's where there are services that can help go back and make sure that all the paperwork has been done properly, so there's no problems in that. And that's where title companies typically come in and do searches and help. But there's other ways to go about it. But those are probably the three red flags that are kind of the only things to look for in this business model.
Awesome. So it's like, you're doing your homework when you're actually even flipping land. It's very important there to do your homework there as well, so that you don't, meet any hurdles on the way. Because that's very important. Because if you buy a land and there's problem behind it, and then you're not able to sell it, then that's how, you have, yeah, you've hit a wall.
Yeah, completely correct. Completely correct. Yes.
Okay. Now, you often talk about getting your money back in under 12 months. What does
Mhm.
that look like, practically speaking?
Yeah. So when we sell a property, I think I mentioned we sell it one of two ways. And so sometimes it's just a clean cash transaction, right? We sell
Mm,
it, we offer a property for sale for $10,000 and somebody pays us 10,000, we
mm-hmm,
transfer ownership. The
mm-hmm,
other way that we do it is we will owner finance. We'll be the bank. And
mm.
so in that situation, let's say that same the earlier scenario where we bought a property for 10,000 and we're selling it for 20.
Okay.
Well, I typically try to arrange the terms. It doesn't always work out this way, but it's my primary strategy is
Okay.
such that there's a combination of a down payment someone makes, right? They put
Mm,
$1,000 down or $2,000 down, and then they're making a monthly payment. And so I like to work the math such that in 10 to 12 months,
mm,
our capital has come back. And so if we paid $10,000 for the property, in let's say 10 months, we've gotten our $10,000 back. And
mm.
then everything after that is profit. And we're
Sweet.
able to reuse our capital because obviously there's a cost of capital and
Of
banks
course.
don't just lend money for free, right?
No.
They charge an interest and they
Never.
want to get things back.
And we never expect that from banks.
Yes, unfortunately. Yeah.
Yeah, but I love the way you do things. It's very smart. Like I say to all our listeners on the Passive Pathway podcast, it's smart earning, smart selling, smart thinking, smart doing. And I just love
Mm,
the way you did. It's smart. The way you're doing is, do things in a smart way. You can
yes.
work 8 hours and, make money. But if you could do that same thing in 2 hours and, smartly earn that money, I think that would be better. And the remaining 6 hours you can enjoy with your family and friends and whatever. I think that's more, I would say that's more profitable in the sense, and more, I think it's more intelligent in that way to do that way.
I would completely agree with you.
Yeah,
Yes.
Now, seller
Mhm.
financing seems central to your model. What are its biggest benefits compared to an all cash flip?
Yeah, this is great. So, I mean, um, this kind of gets into your podcast theme about passive income, and so
Exactly.
it's not. I'm a believer that there really is no truly passive income, right? Everything
Hmm.
has a little bit of work. Whether you're
Of
making
course.
a passive investment, you need to do some
Yes.
research up front, and then so it's very similar in this. It's doing the upfront work and setting up the transaction such that you can have that work done, but then you can have years of income coming in from that initial bit of work. And that just has been our strategy. And it gives me comfort to know that I have a monthly income coming in and that will come in for 4, 5, 6 years down the road from that
Nice.
investment. And it just it allows, as you were just talking about, it allows more degrees of freedom to allocate time to other things, whether that's back into the business or into other pursuits. But that for us has been 85 to 90% of our sales. We try to target that way. We obviously need cash coming back into the business. And so those
True,
cash
true.
deals are great to be able to, um, bring larger amounts of money in faster that we can reallocate. But we have always tried to set up a longer term cash flow stream that we can live off of for years to come. And so that's why the owner financing piece has been very instrumental as part of our business.
And Mike, it's working, right? You are able to passively say, I mean, after putting all that hard work with flipping land and what you're doing with seller financing and the way and your strategy and your model, you're passively earning every month. You've got that going. Is that correct?
Totally. Yes. Yeah, absolutely. And so, yeah, that's something over the years we've built up. And now we continue to just stack more deals on top of it. And so, yeah, it's instrumental to our lifestyle these days.
Absolutely. Now, here's an interesting thing because now we're talking about land. We've talked about all the financing strategies, the way you're doing things. But here's something that, is that many people look at as well because of the market. Now, how have rising interest rates and market changes influenced your approach to land deals and syndications?
Mm-hmm. In the land space, it's made us do more land deals because we do not worry about interest rates at all. It doesn't impact our business. And so they go up, they go down. It's one of the beautiful things of land. In our multifamily investments, it's another story because we are taking debt from lenders and, those interest rates, if you don't have them fixed, they can float or be, subject to the variability. And so it adds an element of risk on any type of real estate where you take on debt or money from a lender. And so, that's something that really anchors us into the land business more and more, just because it's so unpredictable these days with the interest rates.
Well, that's very nicely put. I mean, that's so what I really like about it is that interest rates do not affect land flipping. And when you are buying or selling land, that's interesting. I thought it really mattered there, but that's
if you're taking a loan out, if you're using any type of financing, obviously the same rules apply. But we typically self-fund our deals, or our lending is very short term, because the deals turn very quickly. And so you're not as subject to swings in the interest rates because you're in and out of deals more cleanly.
Here's let's say a curveball. Of course, I know, in the US, crypto is not something that, of course, now crypto is everybody knows about crypto. But you said specifically when you talk about selling land or buying land, you do more of it in cash. And less of course, there is seller financing, there is banks if you're doing it through that. But do you accept crypto as well for buying and selling land?
We haven't yet. There is obviously more and more movement in real estate in general with tokenization and even just using crypto, but it's just not quite accessible enough on a person-to-person transaction. There's still some friction and
it's not easy. It's not easy. There's a lot of legalities involved there, and then with all that's happening with regards to the crypto ecosystem, it's not so easy. Of course, we hope in the coming years and in the future that becomes easier for everyone to actually access and be able to. Of course, in other countries there are possibilities, but of course,
there are.
The US.
There's also a lot of variation in the valuation.
Yes.
And so it's hard from a moment to moment to understand if you're getting a good deal or not.
Yeah. Yes, very well said there. I agree with you there. Now, here's an interesting question. That's if someone came to you and said, Mike, I've got $2,000 and 5 hours a week. How would you tell them to start flipping land step by step?
Yeah, so similar to what I laid out earlier, that forms the basis of a strategy. So you know how much income you want to invest, and you have a certain amount of time. And so I would say the best bet is if you can diversify that $2,000 over maybe two investments. And so maybe you don't put it all in one. You could put it into one property, but I recommend maybe going after two. And so you're looking at something that you can buy for roughly $1,000 per property. And so that then, you need to be looking at properties that are going to sell for $2,000 or $3,000. And so that then steers you into a certain market. So you want to be looking at places where you can actually buy property for $2,000 to $3,000 each. And once you found that, then you go out and make some offers to those owners, buy the property and sell it. And so, in a matter of, let's say, 2 to 3 months, that $2,000 could be five, and then you can turn around and grow that from there. But
I like that.
that's
I
kind of
like
how
that. That's
my
sweet.
logic plays out in that way. Yeah.
That's brilliant logic there, because that sounds actually very, very interesting, and I'm sure the listeners would love that concept. Actually, it clarified that that thing that I had over there, and now it really sounds interesting. Why I'm saying that is because if there are 3-4 people who are willing to pool in sums of money together and jump in and have about 2 or 3 hours a week, and they say, what, we have 5 friends here who want to invest a certain chunk of money into land flipping with you, Mike. Here's the money. Do what you will, but we need to have like money coming in on a monthly basis for the years to come. Can you help us with that? And I think what you just said right now, that makes really sense, because you can go ahead and use that money to invest in not just one, but 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 different land flipping businesses, or 5 land available
Deals,
for
yeah.
deals. Exactly. So
Yeah.
that, am I correct? Is that's possible, right? That's absolutely doable.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah, we have a lot of clients that start out that way. They start with a limited budget, and it grows, fairly quickly. You just step through it methodically, and if you're able to reinvest that money, it can grow, and you can do bigger deals and more of them. Just takes a little bit of patience, but not a whole lot, honestly. I mean, it can happen quicker than with other asset classes.
And my final question, particularly to you, Mike, is that means whatever earnings that you make, particularly from the land flipping business, you are allowed to reinvest, right? You are allowed to reinvest to make more back to you again, right?
Totally. Yes. Yeah.
Wow. Totally. That is pearls of wisdom there, people. That's a lot of information there. It's so overwhelming, but Mike, thank you so much. I'm literally overwhelmed because there's something that's really, really, that's really hot. That is, if people who are listening, I'm sure you must have made notes of this, and definitely, Mike's taken his time, just to go ahead and pass on that information to all of us. Mike's details are in the contributors section as well. And of course, Mike, do you have anything that you would like to go ahead and put up front, or where people can actually reach out to you? Because I'm sure people, after listening to this, would want to go ahead and reach out to you and start off their land flipping business, and maybe reinvest, or use their funds from somewhere else and start doing things with you and Ligia. And I'm sure this is going to go ahead and really help them out big time, because it really looks good. It really looks good. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, so our website is flippingdirt.us. And if you go to flippingdirt.us/freedom, there's a lot of resources there. There's some starter information, some different ways to contact us. And that's really the best centralized place for people to find more information on land and land flipping.
Awesome. And is there a form to fill in and a contract to go into? There's a contract that they have to sign up with you, and so on and so forth?
All the information is there, so they can just download passive information if they want to learn on their own. We have a form to fill out, and where they can get on a mailing list, or even set up a call with us to discuss more. There's
awesome.
all of it's there.
Awesome. Mike, thank you so much once again. It's been a pleasure. It's been a wonderful evening talking to you, and thank you so much for your time once again. And I enjoyed the podcast, and I'm sure you did as well.
I did. Thank you for having me on, Nelly. It was a pleasure.
Thank you so much once again. Well, that's it for today, and we'll see you on the next call with another special guest. Cheers, Mike. Thank you so much once again.
You too. Bye-bye.
Mike, this has been absolutely gold. Thank you for pulling back the curtain, bringing depth, honesty, and actionable wins to our audience. Your blend of performance mindset, real-world deals, and giving back is exactly the tradition we honor here on the Passive Pathway. This has been a masterclass in freedom through simplicity. You've reminded us that success doesn't always mean building bigger. Sometimes it's about clearing space, slowing down, and creating time. Thank you for sharing your story, your blueprint, and your refreshing take on what real wealth really is. So to recap, Mike's journey shows us that sometimes the asset class nobody's talking about, raw land, holds the biggest opportunity. ROI isn't just dollars, it's reclaimed time, clarity, and freedom. By buying smart, structuring simple deals, avoiding the tenant toilet treadmill, and leveraging endurance mindset, you can design your own version of success. From layoffs to limitless living, Mike Deaton's story proves that simplest asset can lead to the biggest transformation. Land flipping may just be the most underrated path to freedom today. No tenants, no toilets, just opportunity, strategy, and purpose. Well, that's it for the episode of The Passive Pathway. I'm your host, Nelson, aka Nelly. Keep building smart, living elevated, and choosing freedom every single day. Thanks again to Mike Deaton. Until next time, stay curious, stay bold, stay on the pathway.
Wake up slow, the coffee hot. Money moves while you are not. No more hustle, no more grind. Earn it smart and save some time. Plug it and tune out the noise. Watch your crypto make some noise. Click some streams and big dreams. Living light with passive themes. This the passive pathway. Freedom meets your payday. No boss, no clock, just Wi-Fi latte. We be chillin', we billin', no limits, just willin', earn smart each day. On the passive pathway. Sunrise high, the world below. Cash still flows while you let go. No more stress, no more chase. Money works at its own pace. Set it up, then walk away. Watch the numbers grow each day. Hands are free, but pockets full. Passive life so beautiful. This for passive pathway. Freedom meets your payday. No boss, no clock, just Wi-Fi latte. We be chillin', we be billin', no limits, just willin', earn it smart each day. On the passive pathway. Passive pathway. Freedom meets your payday. No boss, no clock, just Wi-Fi latte. We be chillin', we be billin', no limits, just win, earn it smart each day.